I knew something was wrong when I saw the mailman puke blood on my driveway. I was sitting on the porch, sipping burnt gas station coffee, scrolling through my phone with one eye half closed. Just a regular Tuesday. The sun was out, the birds were chirping, and there he was, Eli, our mailman for like 6 years, stumbling up the walkway with a weird look on his face, pale as drywall. Sweat slicked across his forehead like someone had dunked him in a sink. He made it to the second step, clutched the railing, and then projectile vomited something that looked like red sludge and meat scraps onto my mom's tulips. He didn't say a word, just blinked at me like he didn't even know where he was, turned and wandered back to his van, left the packages on the lawn, didn't even shut the door behind him. I called out to him, but he didn't turn back. I wish I had gone after him, or maybe I don't. Maybe that was the last time Eli looked remotely human. At the time, I just stood there with the mug still hot in my hand, not sure if I was supposed to be disgusted, scared, or just confused. I ended up hosing the steps off, lighting a cigarette, and texting my sister, Amanda, something like, "Dude, Eli just puked his liver out on the porch. WTF?" No answer. Amanda always answers. She's one of those people who lives with her phone surgically attached to her palm. I thought maybe she was driving, maybe asleep, whatever. Then I noticed how quiet it had gotten. No cars humming down the street, no dogs barking at the mailman like usual, just wind and silence. And the wind smelled wrong. Not dirty, not sewage, just sick, like a meat freezer left open too long. I figured I'd check the news while waiting on her reply. The top headline on every feed: local military exercise at Glenview Base. Do not be alarmed. Just the phrase, "do not be alarmed," made my stomach flip. The military only says that when they want you to stay calm while something bad is happening. I live in Lake Forest, Illinois. It's mostly retirees and overwatered lawns. If the military shows up in our neighborhood, it's either a parade or something's broken bad. I walked out to the street and looked east. Sure enough, 3 olive drab military vans sat on the curb 2 blocks down, engines off. No movement, no doors open, just parked. Like they were waiting. For what, I don't know. I stared at them for too long. One of the windows was blacked out, but I swear I saw something move inside. Too tall for a soldier, too hunched for a person. That was the first time I felt it. Not fear, not panic, but this gnawing pressure behind my ribs, like something was watching me through a scope. I went inside and locked the door. That was around 11 a.m. By noon, my phone service was jittery. I kept trying Amanda. The calls rang once, then dropped. Texts sent with that little spinning wheel, then vanished. My mom tried calling her work friend but got nothing but static. TV stations switched from their usual midday garbage to a blue emergency screen that said, "Emergency response test. Please stand by for local instructions." It repeated, over and over. No sound, no faces, just that scream. And then it cut to black. I told my mom something was going on. She said I was being paranoid, that it was probably a gas leak or a chemical spill, and people were just being told to stay inside. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't stop thinking about Eli, and how the blood he threw up looked dark, too dark, like it had been inside him a little too long. Around 3 p.m. I heard the first scream. It came from next door, from the Riley's house. They've got this little dog named Brisket that never shuts up, but this wasn't barking. It was full-on human screaming, the kind that punches straight through the wall and makes you freeze, even if you don't know why yet. Then, silence. I didn't go outside, not because I was scared, not yet, but because I didn't know what I'd find. I texted Amanda again. Please. Still nothing. My mom was watching out the kitchen window like a hawk. She whispered, "The Rileys are all out on their front lawn just standing." I came around the corner and looked with her. They were all there. Mr. Riley, his wife, their 2 teenage sons. All 4 of them, barefoot in the grass, clothes stained. Not blood exactly, more like a grayish rust. Their mouths were open, like they were trying to talk but forgot how. I watched the youngest one start, chewing on his own wrist, calmly, slowly, like he was bored and biting a hangnail. Mom gasped. I stepped away. That was the moment I knew this wasn't chemical. It wasn't a drill. It wasn't a bad flu. It was something else. I grabbed the toolbox from the garage and started locking the house down. My mom thought I was overreacting until we saw a man crawling down the street on his hands and knees, leaving a red trail behind him, legs dragging like snapped branches. That night, I didn't sleep. I reinforced the doors with furniture, nailed the windows shut, filled the bathtub, filled all the sinks, filled every bottle we had with water, stocked up in the pantry. My mom just sat there on the couch, staring at her phone like it might fix itself. The final text I got from Amanda came at 2:43 a.m. It just said, "Don't wait for me." Then the signal died. I'm telling you right now, if you're reading this and the world still makes sense, don't wait for your family. You think you're strong enough, you think you're brave enough, but you're not ready for what people look like when their eyes stop blinking, when they get back up after their necks have snapped, when the person you love most forgets your name and starts chewing your skin like it's breakfast. The siren started around 5 a.m. The radio came on with a voice I didn't recognize, calm but shaking underneath. "Attention, stay inside, avoid contact, do not respond to screams, lock all entries, do not wait for your family." I turned it off, because by then, it was already too late. At 6:13 a.m. the front door started rattling. Knocking. Rattling, like someone didn't know how doorknobs worked anymore but was trying to rip the damn thing off out of instinct. I crept down the hall holding a crowbar I'd grabbed from the garage. I hadn't used it in years, still had the orange sticker on it from Home Depot. The rattling grew louder and wet. You ever hear a sound and just know it came from something soaking in blood? That's what it was, a squish and scratch, like fingers that shouldn't be that soft scraping against wood. I didn't look through the peephole. I didn't need to. I heard his voice. "Jared? Hey bro, open up, man." It was Dylan, my best friend since 5th grade. My brother in everything but blood. We played baseball together, got drunk together, buried my dad together last year. He always let himself in when he came over, knew where the snacks were, knew my dog's name better than some of my cousins. We'd gotten into fights before, stupid ones. This time he was on the other side of the door, voice weirdly flat, like he was reading from a script, like someone told him, "Sound human." I said, "Dylan, what happened to you?" No answer, just more scratching. "Are you okay?" His voice got softer, almost pleading. "Open the door, man. I'm cold. Let me in." I stood there frozen, crowbar shaking in my hand. I wanted to open it. God, I wanted to. I imagined him out there, bleeding, scared, barely holding it together. I almost cracked. And I remembered the Rileys and how the youngest one had chewed through his own wrist. I shouted, "Where's Amanda?" He didn't answer. Instead, he said, "You still got those red vines in the cabinet?" Then the scratching turned to banging, full body slams. The whole door jumped on its hinges. My mom came out of her room holding a kitchen knife like that'd do anything. I told her to stay back. I looked out the side window through the blinds. It was Dylan. Or used to be. Still wearing his tan hoodie. Same old Vans, except his jaw was slack, like it was broken. drool and something black spilling out the corner of his mouth. His skin looked wrong, bruised like meat going bad, and his eyes, those weren't his eyes. They were too wide, too still. Then he screamed, like the sound didn't come from lungs but from somewhere deeper, lower, animal. I closed the blinds. He kept banging. 5 more hits. Then he stopped. That silence. Worse than the sound. You sit there, heart hammering your ribs, thinking, is he gone? Or is he just waiting for me to check? That was the first real close call. We didn't sleep, not even a nap. The next day there were more people on the street. All wrong. Half of them moved like dolls. Some twitched every few seconds, like they'd forgotten how bones worked. One lady walked barefoot over a mailbox, dragging her foot like she didn't even feel it. We had no power, no water. The radio kept repeating the same message every hour on the hour. Do not trust familiar faces. On the second day, someone started knocking at the back door. This time it was Amanda's voice, soft, crying, "Jared, please." I walked for so long I almost lost it. My mom covered her mouth, whispering, "It can't be her." I pressed my ear against the door. She kept sobbing, kept begging. Said she was hurt, that she was alone, that she'd been chased, that she just wanted to see me again. I whispered, "What's the name of our cat growing up?" Silence. "What was the name, Amanda?" More crying. Then she said something so off I still can't process it. "You'll feel better once we're all together." I backed away from the door. I wanted to throw up. The worst part? Part of me still wanted to open it, even knowing what I knew, even seeing what I saw. That's how this thing works. That's how it spreads. It uses what you love against you. It becomes what you love. Later that day, one of the Rileys broke into the DeSantis' house across the street. I watched it through the window like a coward hiding behind a cracked blind. The DeSantis' were good people. 2 kids, pastor and Sunday school types. We heard screaming, then nothing. And then one of the kids came out, hours later, still in pajamas, alone, walking stiff, jerky, stared up at our house for a full minute, and smiled. That night we knew we couldn't stay. Our food was gone. The air smelled like rot. You couldn't open a window without hearing footsteps. Or worse, breathing. We packed what we could, a backpack each, some protein bars, a canteen of water. My mom put her wedding ring on a necklace and tucked it inside her shirt like armor. At midnight, we slipped out the side door. Quiet, careful. We didn't even make it to the end of the street before we saw them. At least a dozen, maybe more, walking, swaying, waiting, like they knew we'd come out eventually. We didn't fight. We ran. Ran past the neighbor's car still idling in the driveway. Ran past 2 more collapsed bodies on the pavement. Ran past Dylan's van with the driver's side door wide open and a trail of black handprints smeared across the windshield. My legs screamed. My mom tripped once, scraped her elbow raw. I pulled her up and kept going. We didn't look back. We don't look back anymore. Because if you do, they see you. They feel your grief like heat. And they'll wear it like a mask to get close. You think it's your daughter, your boyfriend, your cousin. It's not. That thing at your door, it's not your brother. It just knows his name. There's no map for what the world looks like after everyone you know either vanishes, turns, or stops being them. No GPS signal, no guidelines, just your feet, your fear, and what little you can carry. We walked for a day and a half. My mom was limping on her left foot the whole time, said it was just a sprain. She's one of those people who lies to your face if it means you'll stop worrying. I knew it wasn't just a sprain. Her sock was soaked through with blood by the time we passed the Shell station off Route 60. There were no cars, just burned out husks. Some were still smoking, the smell thick and plasticky. We passed a school bus that had crashed into a tree. The front door was swinging open. We didn't look inside. I don't think I'll ever have the stomach to look inside. We spent a night in a tiny upholstery shop off the highway. It had one broken window, a vending machine, and a small bathroom that smelled like bleach and mold. I barricaded the entrance with 2 display tables and tried to sleep. My mom sat upright the whole night, humming something quietly. I didn't recognize the tune, but I recognized the reason. She didn't want to hear the sounds outside. That night, I had to make a decision I'll never stop replaying. Around 3 a.m., someone started banging at the back entrance of the shop. Fast, desperate. That kind of knocking that doesn't come from someone trying to get in, but from someone trying to get away from something worse. We hid. Mom grabbed the knife from her bag. I tightened my grip on the crowbar. The voice on the other side was a man's, late 20s, maybe 30. Please, please, they're right behind me. Please let me in. He didn't sound turned. He didn't sound flat like Dylan had. No strange script. Just terror. He screamed again, slammed harder. Then it stopped. A dragging noise, followed by silence. I don't know what got him, but I know what I did. Nothing. I didn't move, didn't help, didn't even whisper to my mom. I just kept my mouth shut and waited. And when I finally stepped out and looked through the back window, what was left of him was slumped against the wall, face chewed like beef jerky. He could have been me, could have been Amanda's friend, could have been someone with a family, a wife, a dog. But I did nothing. And that's when the lines started to blur between who I was and who I'd have to become to survive this. Later that morning, we found a church that looked untouched. No broken windows, no blood, just quiet. Crosses on the door. I remember thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe this is where we breathe. We knocked, whispered, waited. A voice finally called from inside. How many of you? 2, I said, me and my mom. A long pause. Then the door creaked open. Inside, we found a family of 5. A father, his wife, 2 kids, and the dad's younger brother. They had boarded up the windows with pew wood and were burning hymnals for heat. They let us stay, fed us canned peaches and half a sleeve of saltines. We said thank you. We offered supplies. We stayed the night. It was the only night we felt almost human again, until it all collapsed. On the 3rd day, the mom got sick, sweating, shaking, mumbling nonsense. She said she just needed rest, but the look in her husband's eyes told a different story. We all knew what it meant. I told him to quarantine her in the confessional. He said it was disrespectful. I said staying alive meant disrespecting a lot of things. He didn't answer. That night I woke up to screaming. She'd turned, right there in the pews, in front of the kids. Her eyes were already milk white, her nails bloody. The uncle had tried to grab her, but she bit his cheek off like it was an apple. The father swung a chair at her. My mom screamed. The kids screamed. I grabbed my crowbar, and I didn't hesitate. I hit her. Once. Twice. 3 times. Until she stopped moving. The sound of bone cracking under metal. It doesn't leave your head. It plays on loop. Every time you blink, the kids were sobbing. The father collapsed. The uncle bled out by the altar. My mom was in shock. I stood there, panting, hands dripping, and in that moment, I realized there's no right anymore. There's only alive and dead, and those of us stuck in between were fading fast. We left the church the next morning. The kids stayed. The father wouldn't let them leave, said God would protect them. We didn't argue. We walked for hours heading south, and then we saw it, a fire, rising from what used to be the local firehouse. People were running, screaming, some on fire, some not human anymore. The infected moved like smoke, fast, crawling over cars, pulling people out of doorways. I grabbed my mom's hand and sprinted. She couldn't keep up. I turned back once, she screamed my name. She tripped, I ran back. And that's when I saw the blood soaking her pant leg. It wasn't a sprain. She was bitten. I froze. "Jarrett," she said, voice shaking. "You can't." I didn't listen. I picked her up. We found shelter inside an abandoned Walgreens. I broke into the back, locked the doors with chains, and sat beside her while she trembled and shook and cried into my shoulder. She begged me to leave her. I didn't. I couldn't. But I knew what had to happen. Around midnight, her breathing changed. Around 2 a.m., she stopped talking. By 3, her hand heightened on mine with a strength that wasn't hers anymore. I said goodbye. Then I lifted the crowbar one more time. Now I walk alone. No more family, no more plans, just roads. Just me and whatever this comes. And if you're out there, if you're still hoping your family might show up, still checking your phone, still staring at the front door thinking they'll knock and say, "Hey, we made it." Stop. They're not coming. They're either gone or already standing outside, waiting for you to open it.